All right, we are live. We are on YouTube. Yay! All right, so I just am so super excited to make sure that I have, hold on one second. I need to make sure that this screen is correct first. But I'm so super excited to have my guest on today. Y'all know I say that every week, but I really am excited every week to have my guest. Because today's guest is super awesome. She is a publicist. She works in PR. I want to read to y'all some of these accolades because the girl is bomb, okay? And I'm just blessed to know her and have her in my in my network. So this is Miss Leah Frazier, and Leah Frazier is a two-time Emmy Award winning. Okay, she wasn't just nominated. I was nominated, but she won. All right, twice, 2 times. 10-time AAF Addy Award winning, 10, okay, count them, 10. 10-time Addy Award winning entrepreneur, best-selling author, and named one of the top 50 leaders in innovation for Dallas-Fort Worth. She was recently named as one of the top 10 inspiring Black women in marketing and communications to follow in the US. She is an attorney turned media guru through her company Think3 Media, which provides marketing and communication services for innovative small businesses and brands. Her work has been featured on Forbes, Entrepreneur, Vogue.com, Urban Radio 1, NBC, CW, CBS, Local, Good Morning Texas, Fox TV, Hope Living Magazine, and many others as a go-to source. Let me tell y'all something. I just told y'all this girl is bomb. And I'm glad that she said, hey, I'll come on here today and I'll talk to you. I'll give you a piece of my day. Welcome, Leah. You know, I got a clown.
Please, you are just as bad yourself.
Well, I try every now and again to, do a little razzle dazzle. So today we're here and we want to talk about telling your business story. And I think it's so imperative to bring this to the forefront because the work that you do is kind of behind the scenes.
Hold on.
Right? Oh, that's the doggy. Hey, look, hey, Spirit.
And she's been quiet all day and she waits till we go live to cut up.
That's okay. That's okay. She said she want to be, look, this is her turn to be on the tube too. Okay.
Tell my story.
Right. But no, I think it's so important to bring telling people's business stories to the forefront because what you do is kind of behind the scenes. Yeah. We see the manifestation of the hard work that you put in, but we don't know the process to get there. And so, it's so many different things that I really want to ask you. So we might be on here. I don't know how long we're going to be on here. I'm going to try to keep it brief. But
no, whatever you need,
what made you jump into this work? I mean, you were already an attorney. So what made you pivot and want to do this?
Well, the first thing that I was doing, I started a side hustle and I got into journalism. And I guess it was just deep down within me. Sorry, somebody's at my door. The worst opportunity. I'm sorry.
It's okay.
Give me 1 second. Let me talk.
So while she goes to check her door and get the dog calm, we'll keep talking here. So I want you to go ahead. If you have any questions for Leah, if you have anything that you want to talk about pertaining to telling your business story, I want you to feel free to comment on YouTube here in the comments and let us know because I want to be able to engage and interact with you as we go through this conversation because this is so super important. And also what I want you to do while you're here is make sure that you invite your friends to come and watch this, okay? Make sure you invite your friends because this is going to be a bomb conversation. So it's okay. It's all right. So we're back. So so go ahead. You were telling how you got into PR.
Yeah, so I started my side hustle and it was in fashion. And so I started doing a lot of fashion journalism, writing for CBS, a lot of sites and stuff like that. and was realizing that there was a lot of these small business owners whose stories just weren't told. And so I was able to publish about them, and people were being able to find out about this hot new Black owned business in Houston. Or like there was a company that I discovered, she made all these like hand, like pressed metal jewelry, and I found it and I would write about her, just trying to be this authority in fashion. I didn't know what I was doing, but I was a great writer. And then years later, after I was the first person to ever write about her. And then years later, after telling her story, it turns out that Beyonce came in her store and bought all of the rings and the pieces that I had previously wrote about.
Whoa.
Right. So it was just cool. And you know, I don't know how Beyonce found her, but I'm like, I don't
She
care.
found her because of you.
Well, I would love to say that, right? But we don't know if that's exactly what happened. But at the end of the day, I know that I was one of the first people to see something from a media perspective in her story and in her pieces, and to be able to highlight that. And so that started my love for telling other people's stories. But I didn't really turn it into the PR thing until I moved back to Dallas in 2011 and started working with other small businesses, and then built my agency in 2015 and realized, wait a minute, in journalism and media, I have all these contacts. I have TV, radio, and other writers just like me. So why don't I bring all of this together and help other small businesses get the publicity that they need? But I know as a journalist, the story you have to tell to get my attention. So it's like this twofold thing where it's like, I have the network here, but I also have the secret potion to know what the hook would be. And so once I put that together, I built the business. We added a little social media and marketing in there. And before you know it, girl, like I didn't even have a business name, and I was taking people's money, and I was like, oh my God, I just was trying to help people. And now I really got to legitimize this thing, but I didn't realize so many people needed it. And so it really started, well over a decade ago, of just going to these little businesses and finding ways to get people to know who they were and about their fashion and their pieces. And now I tell the stories of so many other business leaders.
Wow.
Mm-hmm.
So, okay. So let's rewind, because like I said, you're an attorney, you're an attorney. So when you were like in school and like kicking your career off and all this other stuff, none of this was ever like present to you. Like you never just said, you know what, this is what I want to do. Like it just fell in your lap. Like what? It's just crazy to me because you're so great at it. Like you're such a natural at what you do, and you're so good at it.
You know, Chanelle, I think there are bits and pieces of the lawyer life that I use, right? We do have to negotiate for our clients. So like I was telling you earlier, all day today, all I've been doing is pitching, knowing like this is what the media wants, this is what my client has, and finding a way for them to say, yes, we want her or him, right? And so that part of the legalese of negotiating and knowing what the best bargain will be for both parties, I use that every day. The writing piece, I used to write opinions for judges. I was a student law clerk at one point. And the writing piece, you know, I'm a trained attorney. So I write press releases. I write all the time. So I feel like law school kind of geared me up for the writing part. So I still use it, but no, I did not imagine that this is what I would be doing. Wow. I thought I was gonna be a bankruptcy judge. That was my goal.
A bankruptcy girl.
I loved bankruptcy.
Let me tell you,
so much fun.
The two things come out of that. First of all, is the power of transferable skills, right? Mm-hmm. Go to school for one thing, you think you learning all of this stuff for one thing, and then boom, you realize that nothing is wasted, and you can parlay those skills into something else. And two, the power of purpose, because you telling me that you wanted to be a bankruptcy attorney, and me knowing you now, of course, I think if I would have known you then, I may have been able to visualize that. But I just thought about that, like Leah as a bankruptcy.
I was good at it. I was so good at it. I was in it during the like real estate residential real estate like decline.
Yeah.
I was in it during Hurricane Katrina.
Oh,
So like I was in it when I truly could help people, when people were losing their homes. The mortgage was attached to the home, but the home was no longer there. And we haven't heard from FEMA, what can you do? And so I know people, I worked for the bank. So I was the attorney for the bank. So I was the bad person. But when I would go to court, I really did help people stay in their homes. Like I would tell them down to what to say. Like, look, don't go up to this podium and say this, and that. I'm gonna tell you exactly what to say so I can go back to the client and get you this deal. You know what I mean? So I really feel like in all essence of what I do, I've always been about the people. I've always been about serving people. And I have fun as a bankruptcy attorney. It's like financials. I got some mortgage fraud. So I got that criminal part, like that was fun.
wow. That is just so interesting. You can meet people at different phases and stages of their lives. And because most people, if I told them that I used to be a flight attendant, a lot of times they're like,
see, you didn't tell me that, but you got the personality for it.
Do I?
Yes.
Child, listen, I was just telling somebody asked me yesterday, would you ever go back to that? I said no, and especially not in this climate, because people like to act a fool on planes, and I've been and got kicked out.
That's what I was gonna say, is given the climate and how people are acting, I can't see you getting a little real.
I don't want to, because let me tell you, as soon as you close the door on that little tube with 176 people on it, something just happens. It's like the air pressure or something or whatever, claustrophobia kicks in and people just start acting a fool. And it's like, oh no.
Well, I mean, I wouldn't see you on like a Spirit Airlines, so I think you would be okay.
No, I wasn't on Spirit. I was not on Spirit.
Spirit,
That is so funny that they have that reputation. So let's talk about that. Let's talk about business reputation and how somebody like you can help, because okay, clearly I refer people to you all the time because I just think you're so brilliant. How does that matter? Because people come to me for the marketing, they want to be visible and all of that stuff. But I think that what you do kind of like, it's like peanut butter and jelly. They go together. So talk about how people can improve their business perception and just their visibility with like what you do.
I think first of all, before we even get into that, what you just said is the most important thing you'll probably say this entire YouTube video, is that your marketing and your PR are two separate things, but you need them together to be that peanut butter and jelly, that ham and that burger, whatever it is for you. Because people will come say, Leah, I need PR. And let's just be honest, a lot of people want PR because you're on an ego trip. You see so-and-so on social media, or you see another person posting that they got on NBC, Fox, whatever, and so now you want it, right? But you don't know what they had to do to package that brand up to attract that opportunity. And let's be real, a lot of these people are just paying for it, right? So it's not even an earned media opportunity. It's not that Fox is like calling these people up. They're just so desperate to get it. They just gonna pay whatever to get it. But that's neither here nor there. That's a whole nother.
We're gonna dig in. That ain't either here nor there. We going there next. Keep going.
And the publicists, we talk about it. Let me tell you, we got our own little private text chats and everything. Like, girl, did you see so and so? We know they paid $3,000 for that, but we'll let everybody else think that they got that interview. But anyways, but that to be said, everybody wants this limelight. And so when I do intake, I'm looking at the whole brand as a whole. Like, what are your goals, your values, your messaging? Can I tell that from how you packaged it up? What does your social media look like? What are you saying through your social media? How does the brand look as a whole? Because I'm not going to go out here and bring all this exposure to you or do all these things to get you publicity. And then when the spotlight's shone on you, it actually it hurts your business more than it helps, because people are like, oh, well, I went to go click the link and her website didn't work, or I ordered it and she was already sold out, or she didn't have enough in production. or she had all these racist comments on social media that she hadn't taken down from 10 years ago before she even knew she was going to be an entrepreneur. You know what I mean?
Wow.
So there's all these things where it's like your branding, then your marketing, your ongoing marketing, and your PR all work together. You can't just call up the publicist and say, I need to be in Forbes. It doesn't work like that. And if you get somebody that's going to take you on without really doing that deep dive assessment of your entire brand and your values, your messaging, and your goals, if they don't do that with you, and they take your money, just turn and go the other way. That is bad.
Wow, that's good to know, because there's so many people that are on social media, Clubhouse, and Instagram, and everywhere. And look, we've already talked about this, okay? But you know where they're about to go. They are self-proclaimed experts, okay? And like you said, they want the spotlight, or they want to get somewhere. And so then they see somebody else that's on Instagram or Clubhouse or whatever, and then they hire them. And like you said, too much exposure too soon can really, it's almost like a baby that's not ready to be born. And then you get it out here, it's like struggling to, thrive. So how would somebody know when it's time to find somebody like you to work with to amplify their brand?
I would say once, whatever your brand is, let's just say, for example, you're trying to establish yourself as the authority in your space. There needs to be enough time where you've actually put out in the marketplace that that's who you are, whether that's having your website set up, your social media. And I'm not just saying just throw up an Instagram page and hire your posters the next day. I'm saying you've put out content, you've put out videos to establish who you are. You have a YouTube channel where you're educating people that this is who I am, so that it's not rocket science when you go on someone's radio station as the expert, but then they go to do digging and they can't find any content that supports that. Wow. So there's not necessarily like a time clock, because some people are just go-getters and they will publish 60 videos in 30 days. But it is advisable to at least have some sort of established following, or at least to have your brand out there in a way where you're publishing this content. Maybe you're writing blogs, or maybe you've done some guest blogs. Start off with podcast interviews. Those are, to me, like the low-hanging fruit, making sure you're doing your YouTube videos and following a well thought out and executed social media plan. I can't tell you how many people I've talked to that don't even post, 2 times a week, and it's like, you can't grow a following that way. You're not even, at least go on LinkedIn and chat it up on LinkedIn for me, but none of that. So you have to have that established, and it makes the publicist's job so much easier, because when we're trying to loop you in for TV coverage and radio and all that, they ask for those links. And especially during COVID, where you can't even go in the news station, they want to know what you're like on camera. And I'm like, I had an anchor come on my podcast and talk about this, to say, I can't even get YouTube video links or channels from people, Leah. And sometimes I'm having to fight for them to get them on, because they need to see how you are on camera. They need to see how you speak. They want to make sure you are who you say you are. But if you don't have the evidence to back that up, you need to be working on the evidentiary part before you go get the publicist, so we can have something to pub.
Wow, that's interesting. Because I'm listening to you, I'm like, okay, maybe I can use a publicist. Like,
you can. We talked about this.
Look,
we talked about this.
So, okay, let's go back to this $3,000 for the story piece, because that
I'm about to piss some people off.
And piss them off right here, live on YouTube. We don't care. This is what we do. So let's talk about that. How does that work? How does that happen? I didn't even know that was a thing. Like, I could pay to go on TV.
Now, I don't want to get it twisted. Radio and broadcast TV, they thrive off of advertisements. So it's known that certain morning shows, certain shows, like your favorite shows, have paid for segments. So my current example is always like, Good Morning America, Wendy Williams has paid segments. You just have to look at the little script at the bottom that says sponsored by so-and-so. So you'll see that a lot of the shopping segments and the fashion segments is sponsored by Rue La La, right? And so that's not somebody where Wendy Williams and her team said, oh, they have an amazing story, let's bring them on. No, that's somebody that says, I have this target audience, your target audience matches mine, and I am willing to pay $5,000, $10,000, however much you're charging me to come on for, 3 minutes, 5 minutes, because I know that return on investment is going to far outweigh this advertising. That happens, and that's fine. What I'm talking about is people are so desperate for PR that you're going to get these internet ads or these gurus saying, I can get you on Forbes, Entrepreneur, Fox, NBC, CBS, and ABC for $97.
Oh yeah, I've gotten those. I get a ton of those.
Right.
I saw your Instagram profile, or I saw your YouTube channel, and I can get you. Yeah, okay. Now I know.
It drives real publicists crazy because it's not a real interview. Like what we work for our clients is exactly what you were talking about before, these real stories with real journalists that will sit down with you and pull the meat out to say, Chanelle is special and what she's doing for the community is special for X, Y, and Z. With these $97, and this is not everybody, but myself and some other publicists, sometimes we pay to see like, what are they getting? Because we need to know what the scam is. If it is a scam, some aren't, some are upfront. But what they've done is almost like a newswire where they have access to publish on different sites. And some are these little, Fox sites, NBC sites that are in these little towns. And you pay them, it's the same interview questions for each site. So if you go see somebody, one of your friends, all of a sudden, hey, I'm on Fox, click onto it and see what city they're in, because pretty sure it's out in what, somewhere that you ain't never heard of, that's not even within 30 miles of vicinity of where you live, where they've taken the 97 and then they've put the same interview in these 3 spots for NBC, Fox, and somewhere else. But it's in this little bitty town, either you've never heard of or you live in Dallas and the placement is somewhere in this little town in Louisiana. I just want to know how that helps you reach your audience. If your PR goal is brand exposure or awareness, tell me how that helps to reach your audience. It really does. You just get to say, thank you, Fox, for interviewing me, but they didn't interview you. You filled out a form. It wasn't an interview.
So, and you know what, as you're talking, like my alarm is going off in my head, because I was literally, this past weekend, I've been doing a lot of, I've been doing LinkedIn messaging, like going through my people. Like I literally one by one go through people's profiles, read them, and then send them a message. Like it takes me time. I literally just did 250 people over the past weekend. But I bring that up not because of that. But if y'all need some LinkedIn help, y'all need to come see your girl, because I do this. But one of the people that I follow, he had on his header photo like Forbes and Fox and NBC, CBS, like he had all of the, and that was my first thing I said, man, you need to tell me how you getting all these placements, because that is amazing. But now I'm like, did he pay $97 to be like, I mean, I'm not invalidating if he did, I don't know if he did it in, but it was just so blatant, right? The way that he put it out there, that like, now I'm like,
it's just strategy. Now, I'm not trying to downplay. There is a caveat for folks that are trying to get blue check verification. So to get blue check verification, you have to be on these sites. And there's some people that for whatever reason, they place that high on their priority list above everything else. And they'll tell you, you need a Wikipedia page, you need X many articles on top tiered sites. And they then go and pay for Forbes and all the rest of them, because those are the sites you need to be on in order to get the blue check. And so it's not an easy way for a lot of people to see like who's paying for what. But one of the surefire things is like, if it's the same interview in Fox, NBC, and the other site, they paid for it. If it's in the middle of a town and it's not in the town naturally, like where they're from or where their business is located, they probably paid for it.
Wow.
And so a lot of your experts, if we're really just being honest, some of them are using these services, and no, their authority is not what we call in PR world earned. Earned is Chanelle is killing it. Maybe a publicist pitched her, maybe she pitched herself, or maybe you don't even pitch yourself and the journalist picks up the phone and says, I want to interview you for XYZ publication. That is earned by virtue of the work, by your story, by whatever it is that hooked them to want to pick up the phone or to email you and get that story from you. It is not earned media when you respond and you pay and you know,
Wow.
you have somebody else put it out there. And I last time I checked, the blue check verification folks are hip to the game now. And so if you've paid for those placements, it does not count towards your blue check verification. That's what I was told in the last month or so. So that they're actually getting hip to people paying for these top tiered publications.
So it like now you just let me know. You just see, I'm on the digital marketing side. And so when people come to me, and a lot of people do come to me asking me, they want to get their numbers up, blah, 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 because that's what they want. They want to be, verified. I didn't even realize people were doing like this is like boom, like my light bulbs just going off. Like, no wonder these people come to me wanting, like they want specific things. And I'm like, this ain't right. Like, this ain't how this really works. Like, if you're a real practitioner really doing this, and like you said, getting the views and things, like your page is not going to grow that fast. So just like you're saying, you're not going to just get all this media with that. That's crazy. So half of this stuff is a facade. That's what we want you to take away from this part of the conversation.
Smoke and mirrors. Don't just run the race in your lane. Just stay in your lane. Don't look to the left or the right. Now you have to be aware of your competitors, but don't be obsessed with it. Just run your race, because everything that you're giving energy to or you're validating ain't even true. And here we are as PR professionals trying to literally reestablish the respect in what we do because of these entities now that say, well, you could just pay for that placement and we'll put you here, here, and here, not realizing. I actually reached out to one of those companies and said, the issue I have with what you're doing is that XYZ person is going to pay you $97 and you're going to have them placed on Fox, NBC, and CBS. My issue is that now they have nowhere else to go, and you like throw them out with the trash once you're done with them. They get no other placements outside of that. So I actually reached out to the guy and said, I would much rather have a partnership with you than talk crap behind your back. So if you will funnel these people to me, because that's not what I want to see happen. They need ongoing interviews, ongoing coverage for the things that they're doing, instead of y'all just taking their money and thank you for your business and then throwing them out with the trash. And they never get another placement after that because they don't know real PR.
Yeah. That's crazy. That is crazy. Like, wow, that's crazy. This whole thing is just mind blowing to me. Now, I'm so glad we're having this conversation, because I'll be honest, like I've been doing this for a while, and I've been, people, they've written about me in some ways, but not like, I haven't gotten, I ain't, well, Oprah ain't on TV no more, but I ain't on Wendy Williams or nothing, ain't none of them call me. But it's just like, man, like you said, all this stuff that you're valuing and that you're looking forward to and that you want, you don't even realize that it's all fake anyway. So
yeah, I had a client one year get upset because she wanted to be in the gift bags that they do at that they do for all the award shows.
Yeah.
And I told her, I said, oh, that's pay to play. And she was so upset, blah, blah, blah. And I knew a lady that paid $10,000. And it's like, not only do they charge you to go into the celebrity gift bags, they
then
also
you gotta give away all your stuff.
Then you have to give away.
And then people ain't gonna buy nothing from you.
Exactly. So if you can tell me if being able to say that you were in the Emmy celebrity gift bags return $20,000, $25,000 plus back to you, I would be like, let's do it. But a lot of people are doing it so that at pre-COVID, they actually let you go to the suite, the gifting suite, if you had gifts in the bag. So you could take a picture and put it on Instagram and say, I was at the Emmys. I was in
Oh,
the celebrity gift bag. You paid, and there's nothing wrong with paying for it if you have a team. So I do want to say this. You have a Chanelle, you have a Leah, or you have whoever who can sit down with you and strategically map out your ROI.
there's that. Yeah.
Your ROI cannot be because I want to stunt for the gram. It can't be that. And you don't need yes people on your team. You need a no person that says, right now, 25 G's is better spent on digital ad campaigns, Facebook and Instagram retargeting, because your audience just ain't there.
Yeah.
Not for you to post that. I know a girl here in Dallas who did it. I ain't seen her business since.
Ooh,
I
that's
haven't.
deep. That's deep. I didn't realize that either. So you paid $10,000 to get in here, and then you gave away all your stuff, thinking that P. Diddy is gonna shout you out or something.
They're
And
not.
they ain't stunning you.
And their products in the bag unless they just really get it and they really fall in love with it. And Chanelle, I'm no celebrity. I still do journalism, and you can't see it, but I am pointing to a corner of my apartment right now with product that I still have to go through, see what I like, see what I want to cover, see what I don't want to cover, see what I want to talk about. And I'm not an A-list. So imagine what these people are getting on a daily basis, and you pay $25,000 for a maybe.
So let's talk about that too, because I've seen that too, like on Instagram. I've seen quite a few people in like business groups on Instagram. And before I go into this question, if y'all are watching and y'all have any comments or questions, go ahead and drop them in the chat, because I want to make sure that we address you too. I don't want you to be sitting here and me and Leah's conversation and y'all don't have a conversation with us too.
Yeah.
So
I didn't know I
here,
was gonna be petty with you today. I'm excited about this.
look, on camera. No.
On camera, right?
So look, okay. I see a lot of people and they're like, oh, I had this, I got a t-shirt line. I made this t-shirt and I sent it to this celebrity, wanting them to wear it on Instagram. And then like, oh, they didn't wear it, or they wore it and they didn't
Tag them.
tag me. That's what that reminds me of. Cause I'm like,
yeah.
You set your expectations correctly. If you're gonna do something like that, because I used to be in influencer marketing for Neiman's. And it's like, no, we're not sending you no $30,000 gown to wear on Instagram unless we got a contract in place
Thank you.
you're gonna do. And we've already vetted your numbers.
Thank you.
We know what you're gonna, like we got tracking links. We can see where this is going. This is a real thing.
Thank you.
So it just befuddles me that people think.
Love that word.
Yeah, I love it too. And I've been using it a lot lately. So anyway, but it befuddles me that people are like, oh, I sent Oprah my candles to see if I could get in on her best list, Oprah's list. Girl, do you know how many candles Oprah probably had sent to her this afternoon? Like, ain't nobody. And you mad because Taraji P. Henson wear your earrings on the Instagram post, but she didn't tag it. She don't even know you. Like, thanks for the gift.
I'm with you. That's, again, we asked about the attorney part. That's when the attorney part comes in, because I don't care if it's Taraji P. Henson or if it's little mommy blogger down the street. You're giving away something of value to you that took your time, your effort, your energy, and you place value on that. There needs to be a contract that says you're going to do this in exchange for what I give to you.
Yeah.
If you just mail it to them, or you send it to their publicist or their stylist or whoever, and you don't tell them what the expectation is, especially when you're assuming they should know, because people do this all the time. No, you send it to them. You can't get upset when they don't do what you wanted them to do, when you didn't dictate that to them, and you didn't have it in writing and a signed agreement that says that that's what's going to happen.
Two things you just said: expectation, assumption, actually three: expectation, assumption, and agreement. Period. Like, don't expect something, don't assume, and unless we got an agreement.
Yeah.
Period. But I see it all the time. I see it in these Facebook groups. People, I sent such and such to so and so, and they didn't even tag me. They didn't even post it. They didn't even tell people it was me. So I gave them. I'm like, oh my God. So anyway.
9 times out of 10, if you're dealing with an A-lister, you're not. Now, some of them are real cool. They do their own Instagram and all
Yeah,
this.
you ain't talking to them. You talking to their people.
Manager, an agent. You're talking to two or three people that are kind of in their vicinity.
Yeah.
And so they don't know what y'all agreed to.
Yeah.
And you want to get mad and trash them. And to me, that's just even worse. So if you were my client and you did that, and that was a situation and you didn't get the agreement you were supposed to get, you better take that picture and republish it or repost it and say, hey, Taraji has my earrings on. Throw it up on the website or whatever you got to do, with an arrow to the earrings. And keep it pushing. She's not gonna tag you because you didn't set the expectation that that's what she had to do in order to receive the item.
Wow. So let's pivot and talk about a joint relationship / client that we work with. So yes. So you had a meeting earlier, and something that you said I want to bring to light is the fact that this person is a very busy entrepreneur. We'll mention their name. But very busy entrepreneur doing a lot of stuff. And it's a lot of people that's on the opposite end of the spectrum that we just talked about. There are some people that just want the notoriety, they want the fame, they want the light.
There's some people who got chased down for their interviews.
Yeah, look, and they ain't doing them people ain't doing sugar, honey, or iced tea, but they just want their name in lights. There are other people that are really busy, that are out here, that are putting in the work, and they don't even realize they have a story. Or they don't, they just doing stuff so quick, they don't even realize that they have a story. So how do you I guess switch your ear on to hear and pull those stories out so that people can tell their business story? Because I know, because I'm a trained journalist, but it's so many different angles and all that out here. What's your method? How do you do that for somebody?
I think for me, it's several things. It's keeping your pulse on what's trending, not just locally around you, but in the world. Like, what are the themes that people are constantly talking about? And for me, it's making sure that I have those alerts set up for particular clients. So knowing what's the industry that she's in. And for every client, there's different buckets that their PR or their media angles will fall into. It's like, are you a mompreneur? Are you an expert in real estate? Are you this? So once I know what those buckets are, I'm constantly on alert as to what's trending and what the news is covering in relation to those buckets. Because at any given point in time, I'm going to want to plug that individual in, especially if for last minute news requests where it's like, I need an expert to weigh in. Boom, I got you. She could talk about this, and that. But you have to have your ear to the ground to know, point being, we're talking about real estate. We're talking about short-term rentals. The biggest topic right now is how people can't even book summer vacations because everything is booked up because people are trying to travel to get out of this COVID situation. That now they're like, okay, let's talk about real estate, short-term rentals, and how people can't even travel right now because all the short-term rentals are booked up. Airbnb's booked up. So what do? Like, that's the conversation happening in travel. And so I have to keep my ear to that, right? So that's one thing, is monitoring what's going on in the news, having different alerts set up on my clients, and then making sure that I nurture my relationship with the media and the press and the journalists. So several times throughout the week, and a lot of the ones locally can tell you, I will text and be like, what are you working on? Okay, this, like today, for example, knowing Juneteenth is coming up. Juneteenth's coming up. Hey guys, now what do you think about these 4 angles? And I sent it out all over the place. And so many responded back and said, if you have restaurants that fill in this send them our way, Leah. We already started events list, but can you send us events? Oh, let me get this to my producer. That would make a great TV segment. And so kind of being ahead of them before they even know they need it. That means because they weren't even thinking about it and I put it in front of them. And oh, by the way, I gave you like a Burger King list of options. No matter which ones you choose, it's timely, it's relevant, and I can plug my clients into all of them. So it's a win-win across the board. And my mind works like that 24/7. So when our client called today and she's going 90 miles a minute, what are we working on? Boom, we're working on this. And then I'm thinking, let's have a Juneteenth discussion. And she's saying, well, June 8th is Women's Wealth Day. And she has this big project coming out. I'm like, whoa, 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 whoa. And she's just casually talking about it. I'm like, no, 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 no. We need to talk about this. How can I wed you in? We need a press release. We need to talk about you in the event. We need to talk about you being, this badass Black woman doing blah, blah, blah. We need to talk about the resurgence of Black Wall Street. How do you tie into that discussion? Because that's huge right now. And I just start spouting off all these angles. And now I'm like, I can't go to sleep tonight because there's a million stories right here. And these are stories that people want, not just locally, but all over the world, because I've been paying attention. And I've been asking.
This.
Yeah. And I asked.
I love this. I'm like so excited listening to because your brain works the way that mine works, which is weird. But like it only takes a spark of something, and then I'm connecting the dots all over I'm a connect the dots girl.
I was like, okay, I got stuff to do. I gotta write you a press release. I gotta talk to people. Do they even know that this day was like created? Like, how can we put you in this? I was excited. Because I know like maybe we'll get 2 or 3 hits out of this that are really, really good that we can plug you into this conversation. And oh, by the way, if I didn't know, pretty sure because people have to understand the journalists and the anchors and the reporters are just as busy as we are. Mm-hmm. Sometimes they don't even know stuff exists. So if you're the first person to tell them, first of all, they're thankful. And then you're pretty much guaranteed for them to cover whatever you're putting in front of them because they didn't know about it in the first place.
Right. It's like you kind of halfway did their job for them. And it's like plug and play. Like, okay, let's go. Let's do it. That's one of the things that we were trained on when and it's crazy because you didn't even go to journalism school and you were a journalist and I went to journalism school and I'm not even anyway, but that is one of the things that we were trained on, especially in our PR classes, like lighten the load for these people. They're down there, they're chasing real stories, hardcore stories and stuff. And you might have something to pitch to them and, lob something to them. That's excellent, man.
I'm the queen of that. And I'll even say, this is not my client, but this person came across and I know that this would be a perfect story for you. That way, they know I'm not always in it to get something out of it. I really am truly trying to help you with your story.
Yeah.
That way, when I do have a heavy hitter, I have a story, it's almost like Leah always takes care of me, or she's always looking out or sending a text or sending me a link to something, or if I hear about something, letting them know so that when I really do need them, they're there for me as well.
That's good. And you know what? That's just a key point. We're gonna stick a pin right there. That's a key point just in business, period. Is building mutually beneficial relationships. I find so many times, in this entrepreneurial space, people always are looking for something, but they don't lead by giving. And it's like, you just jumped in my inbox asking me for half of the world in 2 planets. And I'm supposed to oh yes, because you asked. Here you go on a platter with white gloves. No, build the relationship, get to know people. And that's even if you don't have a publicist, right? Get out there and publicize yourself by being a good person and a good steward and a good citizen in this space. And I promise you doors open up for you that way. It's just reciprocal.
And I've had people, and I've even told you, I was like, hey, if this comes through, do you mind if I plug you, or do you mind? Because people don't even really have to be a client because I'm so committed to making sure that the right stories are told. So if somebody's working on a roundup and they say, Leah, I got 5 slots, 3 of my clients fit the slots, great. there may be 2 other people that I've come across in the last year that are just amazing, or I'm watching them. Sometimes I'm watching people and I don't have enough time to interact on social media. So you can't even use that to gauge. But like sometimes I'm seeing some people like, man, movers and shakers and doing some great things in the community, and I'll throw them in the pot. Like I actually just did for a segment for Good Morning Texas. They're like, Leah, we need a list of this. I sent them 50 people. A lot of those people won't even know at the end of the day that it was me. It was just like, I've been watching you, I've been seeing you, boom, put you on the list, hope it works out.
I love that.
But I think to your point, it's having these mutually beneficial relationships where at some point we talked. You told me what you had going on. You told me what you needed. Maybe I told you what I had going on, and we kept in communication so that when that opportunity arose, hey, let me do them a solid. They deserve this. Boom.
Yeah.
Put you on the list. Hope you make the segment. You know what I mean?
I love that.
And I don't need anything.
That's why I fool with you.
I mean, but I don't need anything out of it. I don't. I'm blessed regardless, beyond measure. I'm so blessed. My clients are amazing. You know what I mean? So it's just like, it doesn't do anything for me to be that person that wants to take, or be the person that has something and not give.
Yeah.
There's absolutely nothing for me.
That's a gem. I want everybody that's here to walk away with that. If you walk away with nothing else that she just said, because that's priceless. That's priceless. I can end right here. I mean, that's the perfect way to just like, okay, that's it. But before we mic drop though, tell us who are you looking for clients? Like, who is your ideal client? Who do you just like really like? If you're working with them, it's like, oh yeah, this is on and popping. And then how can they reach you?
Oh man, that's a hard one. That's so hard, Chanelle. Just because, as we talked about earlier, so if y'all just now join in, go all the way back. But I really go off of vibes and energy. And I can feel when somebody is in it for the right reasons. And PR is not cheap. It is an investment. And so oftentimes if people are spending their last dime and you don't understand PR, it creates a very stressful environment. And PR is all about, I just told you about how I come up with ideas. It's a very creative energy. And so I have to have the space to create. And I enjoy working with clients who allow me to have that space to create. And it just makes for a better, they trust what I'm doing. You have to be very patient. So if you're not patient and you want to be on 50 million TV stations by tomorrow, or you tell me in the first meeting, I want to be on the cover of Essence, and I go and look and you haven't even done your first YouTube video, you know what I mean? But people who genuinely come to me and say, I have a problem reaching my audience, or I'm trying to build myself as this thought leader. And then when I look at your content is actually really, really good. I want to work with people like that because they deserve to be seen. They just don't know the how. And I know the how, and I want to work together. But it also has to be vibes, energy, trust, because in PR, ego is huge. I've had people come in and they've been the sweetest people on the planet. And the moment they get that first mention, the moment they get in that first print magazine, the moment they go on TV for the first time, and they get all the likes and the comments and the shares and people saying, won't he do it? God is great, whatever.
Won't he do it?
They become like publicity sucking monsters instead of going back to the why, which is we're getting you this publicity because somebody needs to see you on TV that needs your services. It's not about you, it's about them. It's not about you, it's about them. And when you make it about you, it makes it very hard for me to work with people like that. I can't. And so to your point of the client we were talking about earlier, it's never about her. And I think that's why I enjoy working with her so much, because she really is about her business. Like I have to remind her 4 or 5 times, like, you have a radio interview. Like most people, they're like, oh, I'm so excited, I'm gonna be on the radio. And I'm like, don't forget, just a reminder, here's the information.
Yeah.
Because she's truly focused on her audience. She's truly focused on the impact she's making. And that gives me the space to create, the space to come up with these opportunities instead of when you're not doing it and you just want to, when's the next time I'm going to be on TV? When's the next time?
Yeah.
How many links am I going to get this month? Well, it may be a slow month. I don't know. I can't.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I know the feeling of that too, on this side of, exposing people, if you will. It's like,
it's a process.
Yeah, it's a process, and it does not work overnight the way that some people think. And then, if they don't get a result tonight, they ready to, put a charge back on their credit card or something. It's like,
no,
what? Like, that's not how this works, sweetheart. So
PR, business in general is a process. Yeah. And if you're not in it to kind of go along with the process, then you probably just need to do it yourself so that you can appreciate what goes into it, right? Because it takes a while. So get into the budget part and the money part, you have to have the money to sustain a little bit while things are being put in place for it to pop off.
Yeah.
So there are times where somebody has that hook or story, I can get you like 10 hits in a month, like, 10 hits in 30 days. And then there's some times where we've got to massage the narrative. Maybe there's a million other people doing what you're doing. So we really got to find that hook, really get the media to like you. It may take 60 days. But if you're not patient enough, they drive you crazy, stress you out.
Ooh, don't I know it. So how can people reach you? If they know that they have a story to tell and they need to get their business out to the masses, tell us.
You can go to think3, spell 3 all the way out, media.com, and send me something through the contact form. It goes to my assistant, but it goes straight to me. And just tell us exactly what you're looking for. You also can go to my Instagram at Leah Frazier and shoot me a DM. And I try to respond to everybody's DM as timely as I can, but sometimes I go 90 miles a minute. So give me like 24, 48 hours. Or also you can hit me up on LinkedIn. I'm very responsive on LinkedIn as well to the direct messages. So
boom.
Yeah. Boom.
And before we go, I want to shout out Noelle Randall because she commented, she was watching us. And she says, yes, keep it classy and keep it going. So thank you, Noelle, for watching and for your comment. That is hilarious. I didn't even realize she was watching us. But hey, girl, hey. All right. So thank you again, Leah. This has been just dropped so many nuggets and gems. And
all the PRT, all the publicists gonna be like, why did you tell everybody this?
Oh, well, she did it and it's out there. So whatever. But thank you so much for joining us. It's always a pleasure anytime we talk. You know how we get down. Yeah. And for those of y'all who are watching, y'all know we'll be back next Monday. We're always here every week with another woman entrepreneur telling her story her way. And until next time, I want y'all to stay successful.